Hey everybody, it's Bugsy here. You know what? I need to explain how the Teenage Verse actually began. Okay, but we're gonna talk a little bit about how everything got created, and I'm gonna talk about this. Okay, in this universe, there was something akin to a. I hate saying it, but because if I say it, it feels like people are gonna be like, I'm copying off of you know who. Okay, but in the H verse, which is a story I've created, there is a dimensional. There was a dimensional merge, but hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, you guys know that there are three Bugsies, right? Okay, so in one of my videos, my old videos, that was called Rewritten, right? Okay, in my old video, it was basically the big three of that universe fighting an interdimensional being. And this interdimensional being fought AG and the rest of the big three back in this part of the story. It was kind of my way of just resetting the universe because I wanted to fix a few things. I kind of let the universe kind of set. I kind of let the universe set and fade because literally I was thinking, what can I do with Team H? Because I really want to fix some of the other stories and some of the stuff I wasn't able to tell. So I decided to rewrite the universe. But the H verse is kind of like the kind of a testament of me wanting to do more than just my characters. May write something about other characters that I like Danny Phantom, Ben 10, and maybe have them have their own stories. Because I have been having ideas of making other stories for other characters, doing more fanfic stuff. But I wanted my characters to be a part of this, like, combined, joined world. I'm not really telling you the story of. I'm telling you a little bit of the story of how that actually, how it is, what I wanted from it. You know, I let Teenage sleep for. I kind of slept on Teenage for a while, kind of wondering how I was going to bring it back. But then I had this epiphany from the Infinity Verse. You know, Deadpoolzilla and the Immortal Jason Voorhees, they're basically making their own little joint universe. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I have my own too. So I started reworking Team H, but I really didn't know how to bring it back. But then I had this desire to kind of join some of the Team H stuff that I've been doing with Steven Universe. And first, I kind of did it in a what if kind of style, showing that what it would be like if Ichi. At that time, I kind of had like a backstory all set up for him. That he left Team H during the war between the other Chaos Lords, a war that Bugsy Prime never had to go through, but it was a war that Ichi kind of went through. It was like the second war of the Chaos Lords. And basically, that's what made Ichi into the kind of soldier, war hero, kind of almost in some extent, you're gonna see him have PTSD, but that's the kind of person he became. Ansakamaru and Har actually died during the war. How they actually came back was because, when I didn't really explain this enough, but I'd say that, and I know this sounds a little trite, but Ansakamaru and Harima's desire to help Ichi was so strong, so very strong, they were able to will themselves out of heaven. And you're probably wondering, well, Bugsy, that's kind of stupid. What? How can they do that? Well, it's been said in the Prime Dimension that Ansakamaru, Harima, and Prime have this kind of ability to will themselves out of situations. It doesn't really work all the time. It's kind of like a hidden ability that they have. They barely know that they use it. But in the Team H version, they actually willed themselves out of heaven, and I thought that was the most coolest thing ever. But I didn't really explain how that happened. So basically, yeah, they were just willed themselves out of heaven. It's like freaking the angels were telling them to go, like, no, you died, you have to stay here, and they're like, but Bugsy need, but Ansakamaru and Har were like, but our brother needs us. So they both basically willed themselves out of heaven. It's like it was intense, actually. I forgot to tell you guys that because I do have like a whole thing of how it was actually gonna go. They willed themselves out of heaven. The angels are holding them back because if they really leave heaven, they can never come back. He's like, well, Chaos Lords live a long time anyway, so even if it happens, we'll deal with the consequences when it comes. So Hanzakamaru and Har will themselves out of heaven and they help AG during the fight with Blue Diamond and Yellow Diamond. And again, there's like a moment where AG and Harima and Hanzakamaru just look at each other and they're like, "How you do? How you doing, bro?" And Bugsy's AG's eyes go really wide, and he's like, "Guys," and Ansakura's like, "Yeah, bro, we're here." And he just looks at them. And he's like, "Man, we got something to deal with, guys, guys." And they hug each other, and he's like, "We'll deal with this. We'll talk about all this later. I'm just glad to have you guys back, and let's go. Let's go. We got some things to fight." And that's how that happens with them. You want to know how they died though? They died basically protecting Aichi. They were like, yeah, they're like, oh, Bugsy, like they're about to use the Falcon Blast. It isn't a normal one. They literally got vaporized protecting Aichi, but they were brought back. Actually, because they were able to will themselves out of heaven, their bodies were restored, which I like. Okay, okay. Now this is gonna be a little hard to explain, but if a Chaos Lord can actually get revived, or in this case, will themselves out, they can actually reform their bodies. They'll still have the same age that they had when they died, but they're still kind of back. They're still kind of back in the game. It was one of the things. I know I'm probably gonna touch on this in a very later kind of video, but AG agonized over both Harima and Ansakamaru's death, blaming himself for just because he was blaming himself because he said if he was quicker, if he was fast enough, if he was able to actually defend himself, they didn't have to die. It was like one of the things he really agonized about. He helped Steven for for Rose / Pink Diamond because he wanted to redeem himself and he wanted to do some good for somebody instead of just beating himself up for the past few years that they were dead. And oh yeah, he basically told the Chaos Lord High Council that I am not gonna play any more your games anymore. You started this war against the other houses for what? For what? My brothers are dead. My clan is almost wiped out. You all just sat there in your ivory towers and watched us all slaughter each other. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't kill every last one of you. brothers are dead. My family's gone. And he was gonna kill them. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. He was literally, he had his hand up, palm out, and was really about to fucking destroy them. But he looked, and saw three, three cast, three Cast Lord kids. And they looked at him, and he was like, I gotta go. Those three Cast Lord kids were Mary, Zero, and Neo. Cast Lord, Cast Lord students that he was working with back when he was still part of Team H. He did find them. He did find them again during the war, telling them back off. This is serious business. It's no place for you guys. Yeah, basically trying to get them out of his way, because most of the time, because they were on the front lines too, and he was saving them mostly all the time. Because they were kind of drafted and kind of not, because Neo, Mary, and Zero have their own, like, they have like a special power that most Chaos Lords haven't really seen, and the other houses were trying to use that. Uh, the the other houses, like the Zexal house, was trying to use them to take over the other houses. Really trying to get their hidden power out of them. And Ichi, he didn't like that. He really didn't like that, and was like, he looked at the head of the Zexal clan. He was like, he had his sword to his neck. He was like, give me one good read. He was like, look, you're using kids. I understand they have some special power, but they aren't your weapons to control. He's like, listen to me, Prince. You don't have to do this. You Zexals have hated us Kuros for long as I can remember. And how do I know if I don't drop my sword right now, you guys won't freaking fry my wings or even cut them off? He did beat the shit out of him, but he didn't kill him. He was like, I should kill you. I should, but I won't. And again, Ichi suffered a lot of pain and horror during the war. I mean, it's kind of a miracle that he's able to even teach people. But he did deal with it his own way, the best he could. I'd say him being around Steven is the one thing that made him, well, feel like himself again. He did leave Neo and Mary in Team H's care to be trained by the current leader, Dororo. And while, so they could be properly trained, he was going to train them originally, and that's what he was setting out to do. But he said, well, the war has done so many things to me, and I got to do one thing. I got to try and do one thing a one person asked of me a very long time ago. So I'm going to have to leave you three here for now. But I'll come back. I promise you that. I promise you that. So that's what starts the events. Most of the stuff that was in the alternate take of Steven universe. And now we're going to Omni Fracturing, which basically is like the big, massive event where, oh yeah, but before the war, like I would say 10 years before the war, AG, this version's Bugsy, was basically, just chilling. He was relaxing. He was basically just hopping around the multiverse until Thanos came, and you guys know the rest of that story. So then, we're getting into omnifracturing, and it's been like at least 10 years later, because Lady Death told him 10 years later that's when Thanos is going to come back. The punch that H.E. gave him really did not come out for 10 years. And you're probably wondering to yourself, why not longer? Because the glove, the Infinity Gauntlet itself, could only knock him out. Because the one thing that Bugsy was trying, what H.E., again, this universe is Bugsy, was really trying to do was just knock Thanos out. And it was just kind of reverberating in his last punch, knock out, knock out, knock out. It really didn't have the kind of indicator how long he was going to get knocked out, but the Infinity Gauntlet basically powered up and boom, he got knocked out for 10 years. And Thanos basically wants to have revenge because Lady Death is the one thing, because he was conscious enough to see that Lady Death helped him get back to his own universe and just put him back in his apartment. And that pissed Thanos off because because the comic Thanos isn't the movie Thanos. The movie Thanos wanted to freaking wanting to basically just freaking genocide people because he wanted to basically kind of step hunger and poverty and all that. But the comic Thanos, again, is a lot more petty. So yeah, and also H.E. in this universe is the only one that really in this iteration of Thanos is the only one that really, other than the many heroes of Marvel, that actually can really best Thanos. And he's sort of curious on how strong he really is, because Lady Death actually said while Thanos was kind of while Thanos was kind of losing consciousness, she said Chaos Lord, and the rest of that. So he's pretty curious and also really wondering how powerful he really is. So there's a reason why Thanos is doing this. It's mostly for petty and selfish reasons, but he also wants to know, what is he? Because if he knows what he is, he could probably, try to find more Chaos Lords, and probably he can actually have them work for him or something like that. But yeah, that's what's going on with that is totally what's going on in Omnifracturing through Bugsy's stuff and some of the stuff. Some of the reasons why I wanted to make the H-verse and various other things that you guys wanted to see or know. I think that's about it. Omnifracturing is gonna have Danny, Ben, and H.E. kind of fight against Thanos, Gilgax, and Ben. Well, Gilgax, I just feel like he just wants to destroy Ben because, well, he's seeing how Ben has gotten stronger with the Omnitrix, and he still wants to get it. But he wants the Ultimatrix. So yeah, and probably rewire it to work for him. And Vlad just hates Danny. Vlad just wants to kind of really, he's fucking, like, remember, Vlad is crazy. He's been out in space for years. What he really wants is to destroy Jack Fenton because he feels like it's Danny. It's Danny's fault. And it's Jack's fault. They're the reason. They're the reason. They're the reason. And that's why it's gonna work for Gil. That's why, and Thanos actually approaches them, but and he has them work for him, but only because it suits them for right now. Again, remember, Vlad is being crazy right now. Like, he's insane. So it's not. So he doesn't try to go after Danny at first. He tries to go after. He tries to go after Jack. Again, Vlad. Again, I keep saying it, but Vlad's insane. Okay, that's about it. Yeah, just a little bit of background information before we get into the actual story, which I want to say will come out sometime in July or somewhere in June if I can get that done in time. But I want to say July, but I don't really know. I'm not really gonna give you an actual release date yet. But I'm still working on it. I'm still working on a lot of things, and yeah, it's coming. I'll see you later.